Moving out of your parents' house is one of the most important things you can do, and let me tell you why. So, I recently moved out of my parents' house 2,000 miles away, actually, all the way across the country. So, um, reason number one being to help with job opportunities and future opportunities that may help me become successful. And doing that sometimes takes doing the hard thing, which could involve moving away or just moving out to a different part of your city. One big thing that it establishes is independence. So, which is something you're obviously going to need as time goes on. You know, you can't stay in your parents' house forever, so you might as well go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. And it's not as expensive as you would think. As long as you're, saving money, putting back some money for emergencies and living below your means, which I would recommend to any person who's young, especially men. You don't need much. You can get by on, very minimal money. So do that if you can. Another thing is having room to do what you really want to do, whether that be content, research, whatever you can do without your parents being around. And while I do understand a lot of people want to be around their parents, especially if you have older parents and whatnot, if your parents love you, they're going to want you to move on and be independent on your own and whatnot. So leaving the nest, just how a bird leaves the nest once it gets to a certain age, it's kind of what you've got to do. You've got to go make things happen for yourself in order to be helpful to your parents and whatever family may need your help and whatnot. So, give that some thought. And, once you get out of your parents' house and you move to this new city, don't stay inside, man. Get out, do some things, meet some people, go to your local library. Just establish yourself in that new place and, mark your territory. Get out and do some things, man. They say you can't heal in the same place you were broken in. So whatever problems you may have had in your hometown, moving away from all that and distancing yourself really does wonders for your improvement. So I would say that's one of the biggest things that's helped me in my life, even though I'm fairly new at being on my own. It's like little things. You really didn't know how incapable you were. Laundry, dishes, the toilet stops up, the little things like that. You've got to really be on top of things. You've got to learn how to be clean. It's all on you now. So, vacuuming, doing your dishes, like I said, folding clothes, making sure you're on a schedule and whatnot, that really does wonders, especially for a man who's used to your mom or whatnot helping you out and taking care of you. You really need to establish that independence and, move on, and you'll be better for it. If they love you and whatnot, they'll miss you, but they'll be proud of you that you're out doing your own thing. So, yeah. What else is there? I think that's all for this video. I know there's a lot of controversy about moving out from your hometown because of the expenses and whatnot, but at a certain point you start to think expenses versus growth. Now, while you may take a hit to your finances at first, if you're really on your shit and you're doing your stuff, you'll make that money back up. What you won't make up is lost time, so lost time of being young and establishing those habits and whatnot to become that independent person that you should be. So I would say take the hit, like I am right as we speak. You take the hit, but you'll get up. You're researching ways to make some money on the side. You're Here's another thing I'd say: don't move away unless it's for your benefit as far as finances go as well. So like you have to be making more money than you were making there. Really sit down and plan out your finances and make sure that you are able to do this, that is the benefit with having parents, if you have parents back home that can catch you if you fall. But you also want to minimize that risk as much as possible. So, sit down, make a budget, check your finances, make sure everything's squared away before you make that big jump. That'll help tremendously. So that's huge. Make sure that the job you're moving out there for is lined up previously to you moving, and just make sure it's gonna lead to better things down the road as well. Just give your future a quick check. Make sure that it aligns. And if you need to stay a little longer with the parents, go ahead and do that. Don't just make the big jump without knowing for sure, because that can be a pretty big nightmare. So, just give that some thought, give it some research, plan things out, and make it happen, fellas. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.